I might try and just like nuke. It's like, oh yeah, this looks. Oh no.
And welcome, everybody, to the Huddle, KGUN9's weekly streaming sports talk show. I'm Jason Barr, joined by Pat Parris. Pat, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good. We're underway.
Yeah, a little technical issue beforehand, but I think we're okay. We've got a special guest, and we'll introduce her in just a little bit. But first, Pat, we're going to start with our weekly Huddle poll question. It's a fun one. I wanted to get Kadeem Carey involved because he had a rough injury playing for Saskatchewan in the CFL over the weekend, and he's a Tucson sports legend. So I came up with, Pat, what is the most unbreakable Arizona Wildcat record with three choices? Kadeem Carey's 366-yard rushing performance at home against Colorado in 2012. Part of why that was so special is because Arizona was playing with its backup quarterback, and everybody knew BJ Denker was going to give the ball to Kadeem, and he still got 366 yards to win, okay? Number two, 25 consecutive NCAA basketball tournament appearances for Arizona. I believe that would be 85 through 09. And then C would be, I wanted to pick something from the softball team with 8 World Series wins and all. How about Jenny Finch's 32-0 season? I don't know how you could do better than that. What are you going to go, 33-0? So those are the three choices. I know what I came up with, but let me hear what your thoughts are.
Well, first of all, you hit the nail on the head. I think these are three records that we may not see broken in our lifetime. And so you could, there's no wrong answer here, Jason. And I get the Kadeem Carey, and I think it was outstanding. It was an unbelievable game. Right now, that ranks as far as I can see, the 12th best single game rushing performance ever. So it's great. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't pick that. The 25 consecutive NCAA appearances, while that's one of the top, it's not the top. I think Kansas had a 28 consecutive streak that only ended about 8 years ago. I think UNC and Michigan State both had 27 consecutive games. And don't forget, Arizona technically doesn't even have a 25-game consecutive NCAA tournament streak because they vacate 99 in 2008. So I went with Jenny Finch. And the reason why I went with Jenny Finch is you can't get better than 32-0. You can't get better than leading your team to a national championship.
You have to go 33-0. That's the only way to do it better.
But nobody's going to.
She had a couple of no decisions that year. If I'm not
Probably.
mistaken.
So
really. That's what I picked too.
And I think you also have to take into account in the championship game, she pitched a shutout. You don't see that ever, or very rarely do you see that. So yeah, to me it was Jenny Finch, and the other two were also probably never broken in our lifetime. But I went with Jenny.
Are there any others that come to mind that you could have put on that list?
We've had some single game performances and things like that.
Khalil Tate, maybe one of
Khalil Tate's when and then the next season give him the Heisman now, and it didn't quite work out. And there've been little moments like that. As far as the greatest players of all time, you could throw Sean Elliott in there, but I think Jenny Finch even probably just edges him out as well. So there's a lot of greats, but I think great moments or great records, I think you picked three great ones.
All right. Well, thank you, Pat. We're going to bring in our special guest now, and she is new KGUN9 anchor, Concetta Callahan. Concetta started this week as Pat's co-anchor with KGUN9 News 5, 6, and 10. She is upstairs with us here in the KGUN9 studios. Concetta, you know who we are. Welcome to the Huddle.
Hi, Jason. Hi, Pat. How exciting is this? I'm in the Zoom room with you guys. How fun is the Huddle? You guys have been doing this for several years now.
I think it's year 5,
I
if I'm
think
not
that might
Year
mistaken.
be right.
5.
I think year 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you, Concetta, are you a big sports fan? It's okay if you're not. Where are you in your level? Are you a little bit of sports fan, moderate, big sports fan, or just not really?
Look, to me, the best part of sports is the food, the camaraderie, getting together with all your friends and having it on. So I'm willing to do anything as long as there's food and it's a good time. But I do love swimming. So the Olympics are really fun for me. I love that. I'm on a local swim team, so I love swimming. I love golf. But I'm a big baseball person. If I have to actually pick a sport that I really enjoy going to and watching is baseball. And you did have softball on there, so I appreciated that highlight. That's pretty fun.
That's great. I know that, you've had a couple of stints. This is your second stint of living in Tucson. So you know how important the University of Arizona and University of Arizona athletics are. So I suppose you at least keep tabs on what football and what basketball are doing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I know our basketball team is really good. I know our swim team and our dive team are really
Yes.
good. Of course,
Triathlon.
I'm partial to what I
Concetta,
enjoy. Yeah.
Arizona won the national championship in triathlon last year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Just
That is
giving you an
awesome.
example. Yeah.
That is awesome. Yeah, I'm coming from California, so I'm happy to be back down south. So I'm looking forward to going to more U of A games. I've been to a few football games. I've been to many basketball games. And like I said, I enjoy the hype. I've still yet to go to a tailgate though, so I do have that on my list of things that I need to do. I want to check off going to a tailgate.
Well, I'll invite you to a tailgate. Don't worry about that.
Oh, if I'm going with Pat Parris, then it's the tailgate.
Well, we do it right. So yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good.
So you're originally from Houston, but this is your second stint in Tucson. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm originally from Houston, Texas, and since this is all sports related on the Huddle, one of my most memorable coverages was I got to cover my Houston Astros win the World Series in 2017. So that was a lot of fun for me, getting to go down on the field, talk to some of the players, and just be there for all the hype and then go to the parade. So it's really fun when your team is winning, but I'm not a fair weather fan. I'm there no matter what. So that was a fun time for me.
Well, that's great. Oh, baseball, that's one of my loves too. And so we'll have a lot of discussions about that, I'm sure, as the trade deadline hits. So there's going to be some movement. Astros are actually playing pretty well again this year. So
yeah,
not too bad. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, you're, we mentioned you're back here a second time, but I think people are probably figuring out as we talked last night, you've got a fiance here who's a Tucsonan who went to Saguaro High School instead of Sabino, my rival. But
That's funny. We talked about that last night, Pat.
Yeah, but I think people need to understand your roots are here now, and I think you're here for the long haul.
Oh, yeah. So I worked, we discussed it a little bit last night on the 5 and the 6 o'clock newscast that, Kyler Diggs and I, we go way back. We worked together, 13 years ago. We were saying it's been at least a decade, but yeah, 13 years ago, he and I worked together. He did weather and I anchored, and now, it's come full circle. I've got a lot more experience under my belt, and he can tell I'm a little more grown up and mature. So it's fun to be around Kyler. Now, I haven't seen him in all these years, and so it's been really nice to reconnect. But I always loved Arizona because I love the heat. I had been in the Midwest before coming here the first time, and so I just loved that there was no snow and it was nice and hot. It's just not very humid like I'm used to, but I actually prefer the dry heat now over the humidity, and I love the mountains. You guys know I have a big dog, so I love to go hiking. I love to explore. The landscape here is just beautiful. So, yeah, and as a swimmer, I'm learning to swim outdoors and not in a natatorium. So that's still something I'm not used to. I much prefer to swim indoors, but I think after a while it'll grow on me. But I'm so happy to be here. Yes, I'm engaged to somebody who's from here, and I never thought really I'd come back here, but now I'm just so happy and I can't picture myself anywhere else.
Yeah, you're right. The Olympic sports, the swimming sports are definitely big, swimming and diving and triathlon at U of A. Now, you also worked for the Weather Channel. Were you doing weather for the Weather Channel, or were you doing something else for the Weather Channel?
I was not. So At the time, the Weather Channel really wanted to maintain their presence in those hard hit hurricane areas. And in 2017, you'll remember they had three hurricanes. One hit Houston, one hit Puerto Rico, and one hit Florida. And so they wanted to pull in some news people to maintain their presence in those communities because they were getting feedback from viewers saying, you guys always come when something happens and then you forget about us. And so the commitment was, no, we're going to maintain our presence for an entire year. And that's how I got to cover the Astros, because we thought, you know what, we may as well stick around to see how much this means to the community and how the Houston area really needed that win. And so, yeah, it was a really cool, because it was my hometown. So, I got to go and talk to my high school, and they now have editing and like a news class for the seniors. They didn't have that back in the day. So it's just really neat.
Oh, we
Did
lost
we lose your audio?
So we just lost your audio for a second, I think.
I think we lost her audio for a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw that in her background about Houston and the Weather Channel. So I was wondering, it's funny, Pat, because she mentioned the feedback from viewers about how they say, well, you're here for the storm and then you disappear.
Yeah.
I think that's one reason why KGUN 9 is such a presence in Cochise County, is because we want to make sure we're in rural America and and everywhere in our market, and not just for the bad days, right?
Right.
The good things that are happening, and they're 52 weeks out of the year. And I know that's one reason why our station has such a commitment to Cochise County, and it's great that we have that.
And all of our neighborhoods, our neighborhood reporters are in the neighborhoods, and they're going to be in the neighborhoods. Concetta, hopefully you can still hear, and we can hear you. I have my franchises. I have my Absolutely Arizona. I have my Giving Project. Dan has Dan's Discoveries in the morning. Claire has her going to shelters with the dogs, and
Jersey's Journey.
Jersey's Journey, named after her dog. I'm just wondering what we can expect out of you, because I know you care a lot about the community you're in, and now you're going to be here for a long time. Yep, we can't hear you for some reason. Make sure that button is pushed on that microphone, but we may have lost you.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get somebody in here that can figure it out. I think Isaac's in there.
So, anyway, Jason Barr, Pat Parris here on the Huddle, KGUN 9's weekly streaming sports talk show, joined by Concetta Callahan. She's KGUN 9's new anchor, and she comes here from, I believe, Sacramento. Is from Houston originally, and but had worked before at one of the other stations in Tucson. So, she's no stranger to the area, and she could. I don't know her that well, to be honest with you, Pat. I've had a couple of few conversations. She couldn't be nicer, really.
Well, you're seeing that, because I've had a lot of conversations with her, and she's terrific. And I think KGUN 9 viewers already. I've gotten a couple of emails from a longtime viewers who love the fact, first of all, that I have a co-anchor again, which is wonderful, and then they do think she has great personality already, and that comes across, and I think that's important. Energy, personality, and empathy, and she's got a lot of all that. So
I hope you weren't putting her on the spot there with the franchise. Are you sure?
No,
she won so far.
She actually has an idea for one. I thought maybe she explained a little bit of it.
She's functional.
Okay, we can bring her back, I hear.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's bring her back.
Rejoining now, Concetta Callahan, KGUN 9 anchor, and Concetta. Well, we'll know when she's back, because we'll see her, and we'll remind her what the question was about the franchise. But until then, Pat, hey, we are in the dog days of summer. I guess they call it the dog days of August, but we're almost there. For KGUN and for sports in Tucson, this is kind of like the slowest time of the year. So we're doing little league and things we don't really do with the Huddle, is kind of what we're covering right now with sports. But we're a week away from University of Arizona football, and sure enough, they emailed today, and media day is 1 week from today. I was just glad to see it, because they haven't done a media day every single year, so it's good. It's good they want to do that and have a local media day in addition to the Big 12 one. So that's going to be next Tuesday, and it's going to be a different team. I thought on Big 12 media day, Pat, I saw a little attitude's not the right word, swagger from Brent Brennan that kind of I hadn't seen before. Well, specifically when he talked about how last year he felt like he had to kiss a bunch of players, to get them to stay, and like this is his team now.
Right. And I think that was good for him to say. It was, and the players, I don't know if it was planned. I doubt it was rehearsed, but they also echoed kind of what Brent Brennan was saying. And that was, last year, trying to straddle both sides of a fence, the old players, the new players, which ones are my guys, which ones are Jed Fish's guys. So I think what you heard was, these are all my guys, because they've committed. They've either committed once to Jed Fish and then a second time to me, or they were the first time committee. So I really think that was the right message, and I was impressed by that message. I was impressed that the players backed up that message, and I'm also happy they're going to have a media day. I'm wondering if that wasn't just a lack of enough time last year to really get one ready with the lateness of Brent Brennan starting and really trying to get his footing, and maybe he wasn't sure that the players should be exposed to that quite yet. But now they're going to do that. And I think that's a great thing.
Some years they've had one, some years they haven't. So I'm glad to see that they're having one. And certainly it'll give us some stories for our special that we do each year. And just a chance to get off to a good start. They got the home games against Hawaii and another non-conference one before the Kansas State game, which is a non-conference. They're going to want another shot at Kansas State after what happened last year. And you know what the storylines are going to be for Arizona football. Noah Fafita's first year without Tedero and McMillan. You can't replace T-Mac with one wide receiver, so they got 4 or 5, right? Mm-hmm. That they can kind of, and somebody's going to step up, just the way Chris Hunter stepped up last year at that position. So I'm not really that worried about that. I want to see a little bit of size. Size has been an issue for this program, no matter who the head coach has been, except for Jed Fish's third year. So I want to see a little bit of size. That's kind of what I'm looking for when I am looking at training camp this year from Arizona football.
And I'm looking at better schemes, and that's on both sides of the football. I think as much as we love the previous assistant coaches and their longevity and they deserve all the respect in the world, there was just something lacking last year, creativity wise, schematically, and I think that you're going to see that change with the new offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. I'm really looking forward to that part of it. Are they going to blow the doors off of people? Are they going to set the world on fire? Are they going to win 10 games? Probably not, but I think they might do better than a lot of us thought, say at the end of last year, for sure.
And I think we've got some pictures. One thing we have from, as we welcome back Concetta Callahan, we're talking to Arizona football, Concetta, and also one of the former players for Arizona football, Nick Foles. He was a quarterback, and his senior year was 2011, and he went to the NFL. He kind of had a really odd NFL career, but he won a Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles as quarterback. And anyway, Foles is retired from the NFL, but today he was named to the University of Arizona Hall of Fame with a couple of other players. So Nick Foles in the news today, arguably Arizona's best ever quarterback.
Yeah, he's got some passing records, and when you win a Super Bowl and then you're named the Super Bowl MVP like Nick Foles, that puts you at a whole nother level, right? Suddenly you're you maybe have an extra star in that ring of honor at Arizona Stadium. You should anyway. Yeah,
and the Eagles just won in New Orleans, right?
Yeah.
He wasn't with them for this particular Super Bowl, but the one before when they beat the Patriots, he was the quarterback for that, and he wasn't their quarterback at the beginning of the season. He replaced an injured Carson Wentz. It was actually his second stint in Philadelphia. He almost did better when the expectations were lower, and then he said no. He signed a big free agent contract with Jacksonville, and it kind of didn't work out there, and so he kind of had an up and down career. But I think what people will remember, is the Super Bowl win with the Eagles. And also there were a lot of Eagles fans in Tucson. You saw people wearing, Foles jerseys and things like that. So, popular guy, very, very nice guy. He's one of those super respectful, nice, humble guys in Nick Foles. So I think Ben Diggins, who was a pitcher, and a baseball pitcher, and then Kevin Cordes, who was swimming. We're talking about swimming. Yeah. Kevin Cordes was in the I believe he was in the London Olympics in 2012.
Not only that, Jason, I believe he was an 8-time NCAA champion and 2-time swimmer of the year in nationally. So you're talking about a great swimmer. Yeah, he was something else. So that's the list so far. I don't know if they're going to announce any more. 3 seems kind of light. I think last year there were more like 8 additions to the Hall of Fame, but maybe that's it. We'll have to see.
Concetta, I'll tell you something cool, and then we'll get back to what your franchise piece is. University of Arizona is one of the, I think only one of 3 schools maybe in the whole country that had a first round draft pick in football with Teteroa McMillan,
Uh-huh.
basketball with Carter Bryant, and baseball with the outfielder. His name's escaping me now.
Right
But
on the top.
Pat will look it up right now.
Is
But
this
they
a
had
quiz,
first-
Jason?
No, it's like an attaboy. That's like a way to go, Arizona.
And
Yeah.
that's very rare for a school to have a first
Yes.
round draft pick in all 3 sports, and they had it. And Arizona had it, so that's really a kind of a cool thing for University of Arizona.
That's cool.
Summerhill.
Yeah, Brendan
Just
Summerhill.
came to me. I'm trying
okay.
to look it up, and it just came
Brendan
to me.
Summerhill. Thank you,
Yep.
Pat.
Yep.
Aaron,
Yep.
they had another outfielder too. So yes, so they had a first round draft pick in all 3. So when you talk about the big time sports programs in this country, University of Arizona is up there. And when you talk
Yeah,
about
they certainly compete.
yeah.
That is for sure.
When you talk about basketball, they've had as many wins as anybody almost the last 15 years or so. They just haven't had those Final Four appearances or national championships in basketball. And I think that's what's missing. Anyway, when we lost you, you were talking about your franchise. I thought maybe Pat was putting you on the spot. Have you had?
And it's not finalized yet. I just want to know what
No.
her interests are that the viewers can expect to see, down the road here.
Yeah, so I actually brought it up to Pat before the huddle, and I said, I need to have a discussion with our managers about what I'm going to be focused on here. And I was wondering, was there something in our newscast that we need to see more of? I know certainly what I'm interested in doing. In the past, I've done things like problem solvers because people, our community, we always have stuff going on and they really don't know who to go to. And so I'm a people person and I love it when people contact me directly. So if it's something that I think I can help them with, I will. But another really big passion of mine is working with first responders, whether it's the sheriff's department, the police department, the fire department, our federal agencies that we have here, because we're along the Arizona-Mexico border, far enough away, but we still have a lot of news that garners attention for our areas. So if I could pick, my number one thing would be to focus more on these first responder kind of stories. I would enjoy doing something like that. I think that impacts everybody. It impacts the entire community when it comes to safety, when it comes to events, when it comes to well-being, when it comes to introducing something new into these departments. When we have all eyes on our part of the nation across the country. So I would like to do something with our first responders, if that is something that, Pat, you think we may need more of in our broadcasts and work with, so we can also develop those relationships as well.
I like it a lot. I think we can develop something there. I think there's definitely a need for something like that. I think that any way you can serve our community is going to be well received, and both of those would. So we'll see how it all shakes out.
Yeah, that sounds like a terrific idea to me for sure. Absolutely. First responders, especially with what you're talking about with the border. Yeah. So, all right. Well, Concetta, apologies for the technical issues that we had here. But
no apologies from me. I'm sorry about that. I thought I was properly connected in here, but we're good to go now.
Okay.
Yeah. And viewers can see you at 5, 6, and 10, right? With Pat Monday through Friday. 5, 6, and 10 with my co-anchor Pat Parris. I just feel so blessed that I get to work alongside you every single day, Pat.
Thank you.
I'm very excited. How do we follow you on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok and all the rest?
Yes. So Instagram is really what I use the most. That is probably the best way to get in touch with me. And it's just my first and last name. So Concetta Callahan with the @ in the front. Facebook, it's Chetta Callahan. So the last part of my first name. So CETTA Callahan. And that's the same on X. So Concetta Callahan for Facebook and Twitter, and then at Concetta Callahan for Instagram.
And what about TikTok and Snap? Do we need to?
Oh, you know what? I think that's before my time.
Ah.
I let everybody else tell me they put
I'm-
me on
Concetta,
TikTok
I'm,
and Snap.
I'm teasing.
No, I think Snap you definitely talk back and forth. That's like a communication tool. I don't know
Concetta-
there's really posts there.
Don't worry, I'm teasing.
I know.
Rest assured,
But no,
rest
don't look for me
assured,
there.
Pat and I, who have you a little beat as far as age, are not on. Are not.
We're
on,
not on TikTok,
we're
believe
not on
me.
TikTok or
Yeah.
Snap.
But
I'm sure they're
Instagram-
wonderful things.
Maybe the three of us can get on there together. We share the account.
I don't think anybody really wants to watch that.
See what we're up to.
No.
No.
All right, hey, let's finish it up. We finish
Yeah.
it up every week with our Huddle poll question and with the results.
Okay.
And so you weren't here for the first part, so let me just remind everybody what it was. It's what's the most unbreakable Arizona sports record? Kadeem Carey's rushing 366 yards in a game when he did against Colorado in 2012, or Arizona basketball 25 consecutive NCAA appearances in the tournament, or Jenny Finch's 32-0. I think we can put that up there, Ryan, the Huddle poll. And people vote Concetta on X, or they can vote on our website. And so we introduce it in the beginning of the Huddle, and then here at the end, we show everybody what the results are. So we're just kind of waiting.
So
on that.
initially, when I looked at the poll, I was going to go with Kadeem Carey, but then as I saw that it's 32-0, I'm going to go with Jenny Finch. That's
Yeah.
my final
That's
pick.
who Pat and I picked, and
Yeah.
the reason why is because we're the wording, the phrasing is the most unbreakable.
Yeah.
In order
I
to
mean,
break
every
a 32-0,
single game.
you would have to go 33-0, right? I mean, that's just, and there's more parity today in college softball. The SEC teams are better, and to
Right.
not slip up and have one loss is nearly impossible
Pretty
today.
ridiculous to think about never losing a game in an entire season.
So you can see the results here on the bottom. About 62% have Jenny Finch, whereas the other ones are a little bit lower. I think that's a pretty accurate. I would go Jenny Finch a little higher, maybe, but I'm not surprised where those are.
Exactly. Now I will say this, as long as Tommy Lloyd is the head coach of Arizona and they stay away from scandals and, and things like that, if he's here long enough, they can make 25 straight. But it just won't have the same, to me, it doesn't have the same, swagger as
It'd have to be in his early 70s with no problems for
Right.
a quarter of a
So
century.
let's just say that he goes for the next 15 years. Then his top assistant at the time takes over and goes for another, a few. They could get there, but I don't think that's as impressive as 32-0 winning a national championship and shutting out the opponent in the national championship game, is what Jenny Finch did in 2001. Was it 2001?
Yeah,
It's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, Kadeem was 2012, and the 25 straight tournament appearances were 85-09, I believe.
Yeah.
Do we
All
know
right.
what Jenny does now?
She is a mother, and she does a lot of camps. She makes a lot of appearances. I follow her on Instagram. She's
Oh,
great
that's
to
cool.
follow,
So
and
she's paying it forward.
she's a
still
big
really
ambassador for the game of softball.
Yeah, I
I think
believe
that's
she lives in Louisiana, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so. I believe so. And she's got a daughter that's coming up that's about to, maybe going to high school about now. So she's not far behind from being, a mom that's going to be cheering on her daughter, and hopefully she goes to the U of A and plays.
That'd
One
be
of
so
the
awesome.
other players from their glory days, Concetta, is their head coach now, Caitlin Lowe.
Mhm.
She was an
cool.
outfielder. Yeah.
She was a
By the
terrific-
way, I'm not talking about unbreakable records. I didn't think about that. Hey, Pat, Caitlin Lowe, 4 years in the outfield, not one error.
That's right. That's pretty amazing. Not a single error in
Not a
4
single
years
error.
of playing college
That's right.
softball.
That's right.
That's
All
really
right.
neat.
Could
Hey,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. Do y'all have to go? I'm blanking on the name, but the female basketball coach at U of A.
Becky Burke is the new
Becky
one.
Burke is the new one.
Oh,
So they had
Yeah.
Adia Barnes for about a decade,
Yes.
and she's now
Yes.
at SMU.
there we go.
Yeah.
I've listened to her speak, and she's so motivational. I really enjoyed her and her hands-on approach when I went. I went and listened to her down at the U of A, and I thought it was really neat.
Yeah, very good. All right, Concetta Callahan, we are looking forward to watching you 5, 6, and 10 on KGUN 9 and following you on Instagram as well. And thank you so much for joining us here on The Huddle with me and Pat Parris. It's KGUN 9's weekly streaming sports talk show. Not sure we do, Concetta, we do 40 of these a year. We have 12 skips. So during the summer, it's hit or miss, but we do them every week during the U of A football and basketball season where Pat and I can really get into the games and critique and do some analysis. So I'm not yet sure if we're going to be on next Tuesday, but if not, it'll be the Tuesday afterwards. And we thank everybody for viewing, and we'll see you next time here on The Huddle. Take care, everybody.